Good morning. Good morning, sir. My name is Oscar Garcia. I'm a Deputy District Attorney here in San Diego County. I have been a prosecutor in San Diego County for the last 28 years, and I've specialized in hate crime prosecutions for the last 7 years. During the course of this presentation, obviously we want you to take away what the essential elements are of a hate crime. What makes hate crime different is that hate crimes is the only crime in the state of California in which we're required to prove motivation. A hate crime is one where it meets the elements of a criminal act within the provisions of the penal code. Hate crimes here in San Diego run the gamut from juveniles vandalizing homes with swastikas or vandalizing churches and synagogues with hate symbols to full-blown attempted murders. A hate incident is something where it isn't necessarily illegal. Someone yelling out racial slurs at someone, doing a Heil Hitler salute every time they pass by someone's home. It's conduct that may be protected by the First Amendment. When you're out in the field and you respond to a crime, definitely you want to ask yourself, why did this happen? What was the motivation? What was the relationship between the parties? And if the answer to that question is, and you can demonstrate that a motivation, or at least a substantial motivation for the crime, was the prejudice and bias towards this characteristic of the victim, that characteristic can be based upon race, ethnicity, nationality, sexual orientation, religion, gender, and disability, then that makes it a hate crime. Just recently at UCSD, we had a noose hung up in the library, and we've had several other incidents. African-American girl in a local high school took the lead role in a play. The day after she received word that she obtained the lead role, there was a noose hanging from the stage where she's supposed to be, up on this balcony scene. All these kinds of cases can tear communities apart, especially if there's a perception that law enforcement isn't being aggressive in these cases, that the criminal justice system is not responding. As the first responders, I want you to think about what the challenges are in responding to that scene and how you would handle it. When someone yells out a slur during a fight, during an altercation, that doesn't necessarily make it a hate crime. Unless the speech threatens violence at a specific person or group, with an apparent ability to carry out the threat, for the most part, it's going to probably be protected under the First Amendment. However, we still very much encourage you to go out there and take that FI. Do that consensual encounter with that suspect. Why do we want that? That's going to provide you ammunition down the road. We definitely encourage the police to document the people who are committing those types of what we refer to as hate incidents, because when a crime has occurred, damage to property, vandalism, or committing acts of violence, and they're looking for suspects. If they look in that vicinity, in that neighborhood where they have now officers who took those reports early on of those hate incidents, now they have at least a list of suspects, and they can do photo lineups and determine whether or not perhaps some of those suspects may in fact be the perpetrators of the crime. It's extremely important that even if the officer feels that this is not something which is going to lead to the prosecutor filing criminal charges, we need the documentation, but also for purposes of the victims and the whole sense that the victims will trust the police and feel that there's some response. And clearly that should be communicated to the victim, that this may not lead immediately to an arrest, but just the sense that somebody is responding to the victim who feels in their minds this should be a crime, but there's legal reasons why it isn't, but at least there's some response. Because then if the victims don't get any response, then when the crime does occur, they're even more likely to not call the police because they feel the police never come. The advice I give the police officers to how they should work within the community to help prevent and reduce the number of hate crimes is that partnering with the community at any public events. So when the community sees officers as definitely part of the community, hopefully they'll be more likely to call them when there's problems in their specific community. The neighborhood watch programs I think are excellent examples of that. That here in San Diego, we have the San Diego Regional Hate Crimes Coalition, which is a coalition of both law enforcement and community-based organizations. So that when something does occur, we really have this sense of trust between community organizations and police officers and the police agencies. And then it's very important you already have that sense of trust.